Yo, yo, yo. This is the North Shore 9 podcast presented by FanDuel. Welcome to Bucco Brew, powered by DeFair Coffee and Tea. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Good morning. First Monday of the official Major League Baseball offseason.
There it is. Are you excited about that?
No.
Okay, then. I'm excited about that part. I'm not excited about it being November.
Nah, I mean, what's there to be excited about? Until this team shows that they're going to actually do something, I'm not going to believe that they're going to do anything. So,
I mean, that's fair. I'm just also excited that it's the offseason. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Sure.
I mean, it's been a month on like our shows have been, I'm not going to say terrible. Our shows are awesome.
Our shows are never terrible.
But it's been a struggle. So I'm thankful that like the Pirates are rejoining Major League Baseball and partaking some of the fun that everyone else is having.
What are you talking about?
To some degree.
The Pirates claimed Dugan Darnell off waivers last week, DiNardo.
That they did. You know what I happened to do as well? I went and I purchased my World Series tickets. Apparently, a lot of people on Facebook did as well, from what I've read. So we're all ready for 2026 World Series.
Call off work. Make sure you've got the PTO scheduled. Like you got to make sure you have the end of October, beginning of November off next year.
Absolutely. I have to cut my spring training trip short. Just FYI, because as you mentioned, to make sure I plan the PTO accordingly. Yeah. But it's worth it. It's worth it. But yeah, the Pirates made a waiver claim. They picked up that boy. Do we want to start off with him? Maybe get that out the way. Okay.
Well, sure, I guess. Dugan Darnell, left-handed pitcher, reliever from the Rockies. Yeah, like I'm not really quite sure if there's much to get excited about here. He's 28 years old. Made his major league debut this year. His ERA was fine in his limited action, but he walked more people than he struck out. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lefty, and they need lefties.
Right.
I don't really see a situation, hopefully, where this guy's playing too big of a role on the team next year.
That's kind of how
does have a good splitter, apparently. Does have a good splitter.
Yes. Well, both, decent splitter, both fastballs seem to be pretty good. It's his sliders actually not that good as far as like stuff plus goes.
Mm-hmm.
Which I felt to be kind of ironic. Because we always talk about like if there's one thing that this like the we talked about this thing on Thursday. There's the one size fits all thing about the Pirates. Like, do you have a sweeper? Or a slider or such, and we could work with that. He throws one. He throws one. Maybe they feel like they can enhance it. I don't know. Maybe this is something where it's like, hey, the new guy comes in. Billy's here. This is his now new. He can fix him. I don't know what it is. I'll say this. To me, it's kind of a nothing burger. It's okay, whatever. He's a lefty. Like I remember last year when they picked up Justin Lawrence. I was kind of excited about that. Like that was when it was like, hey, you know what? This could be sneaky good. And, we saw what we did this year. Obviously, he was injured for most of the season, so I'm not going to totally claim that as like a win. But like when Lawrence came over, yes.
Also, I need to clarify. He hits left-handed. He throws right-handed.
Well, let's rewind. Remember what we said about our shows not being terrible?
Yeah, they're still terrible.
Yeah. All right. So
that just goes to show you how much we know about Dugan Darnell. I'm just like looking at his page here, and there's nothing that stands out other than he may have a decent splitter.
Yeah, he definitely throws righty as well. His arm angle is at a 51%. Anyways, or degrees. Anyways, though, all that I just said was true except the lefty part then. So he's a righty. That's like a nothing burger. But again, like going back to Justin Lawrence, when he was, picked up off the Rockies, also, it was one of those situations like, hey, maybe getting him out of Colorado will do him well. Like that sweeper he has looks pretty devastating as far as the numbers and everything goes. Like I don't really see that with Dugan Darnell too much. To me, this is just like a meh, whatever. I guess maybe some depth. Obviously, they're going to need some depth. You're going to see probably a few of these in this offseason. You always do. So, like, whatever. But again, those are something that I'm not going to discredit the Pirates on. It's for them making pickups like this. I mean, what do we say about Dennis Santana? Probably similar things we're saying about Dugan Darnell right now. So, to me, again, it's whatever. But I'm not. There's nothing too exciting about him, to me at least right now. Again, not like how I was with Justin Lawrence last year.
Yeah. The other thing to just note is per Alex Stump, he had hip surgery scheduled for late September. As far as I know, no one's been able to confirm whether or not that happened. But if it did happen, there's like an 8-month recovery on that. So you're looking at someone who would be missing the first half of the season anyways.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure.
So there's our assessment on Dugan Darnell. I don't have much else to say, clearly.
Right. And that's what you all came here for. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
On this lefty. We mean righty.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's
boy.
move on.
Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, I mean, I think the majority of the show is going to be spent talking about the Dodgers, talking about baseball, this epic World Series, regardless of whatever we want to talk about with the Dodgers. This Blue Jays Dodgers World Series was amazing. It was fantastic. So let's go and talk about that a little bit here. And of course, I'll tell you more about the sponsor of our show. The Fair is a family and employee owned and operated business. They believe that coffee and tea are one of life's simplest and most accessible pleasures, and when enjoyed thoughtfully, can open your eyes to the here and now. They have 5 locations across the city of Pittsburgh, including their flagship in the heart of Pittsburgh's historic Strip District. Don't forget to stop by the Fair's new location downtown on Penn Avenue, right across from the Benedum. Grab a cup and fuel up on your walk to PNC Park. Mobile ordering is available. Check out their Instagram for more details. And of course, it's thefair.coffee. You can get 30% off. Jim, tell them how.
Yeah, if you go online to thefair.coffee, use code NS930. That's NS930. You get 30% off your order.
So there it is.
Yep.
There it is. But yes, so again, this World Series, I don't know your take specifically, Jim. I think I have an idea, but wow. Like this was just a fantastic series. So much. I want to put something out there. I had one of John Cole's coworkers was talking. They were talking yesterday on the phone, and she was like, "Can I talk to Anthony?" She put me on the line, and her coworker just wanted to talk to me. He's like, I watched that series last night, and I don't watch baseball, but I watched that game last night. It was Game 7, and she's like, and a friend of mine was over, and they don't watch baseball at all, and they were talking about how great this was. And I just want to talk to you and think I want to talk to you about baseball because of how good that was. My mom even called me up. And she does always, but like she wanted to talk to me. Like people like wanted to talk about baseball. That doesn't happen too much, especially on NFL Sunday. That's how good this one was.
Yeah. The postseason as a whole was excellent, I thought. I can't really speak to game 6 and 7 of the World Series very much due to my travel plans. I was unable to watch those 2 games. So, but based off of, I went back, watched highlights, watched, I at least got a good understanding of what happened there. Yeah, it seems like I missed a hell of a game 7. That's for sure. This postseason also had more game 7s or more elimination games, winner take all games than any other postseason ever. There were 7 of them. 7 different series went to the final game of the series, which there's never been more than 5 before in baseball history. And yeah, I mean, like, you just kind of go through like some of the weird stats here that like this was an insane World Series. Like, it was the 3rd World Series to ever end on a double play. It was the 3rd World Series ever where a team was losing entering the 9th of a winner-take-all game and won. Previous teams were 2-33 in those situations, and the Dodgers were the only team to ever do it on the road. Like I said, there's just crazy stats about this game. Will Smith, who was the hero, caught more innings in this game than any catcher has ever caught in any World Series, like 73 innings caught. And it's just
that also kind of makes sense. There's an
18
inning game.
Like, yeah, it was just every game was good. There were extra innings involved. So
yes.
So it's just nuts that like all this stuff happened. Yamamoto, the first pitcher ever with 3 road wins in a World Series. Like just incredible performances by the best people that play this sport. It was like, we're going to talk about here, like, are the Dodgers ruining baseball? But I'll say this, like, it was a great baseball series. Like you mentioned, like, people calling you and wanting to talk baseball. Like, this was baseball put on full display. It was like, this is all of the good stuff that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Let's show it to you over a 7-game series. And that's what the World Series was.
I want to add too, Clement had the most hits in postseason history as well with 30.
There you go.
Like, just all around, like, just really, really good, amazing stuff was happening. And obviously Blue Jays fans got the rough part of this, right? They're not taking this so well, as understand. But again, like, I feel like both teams, just like, what an amazing, like, both of them very entertaining. Like, every game was just really, really good. I couldn't sit here and say, like, oh, for Blue Jay fans it was rough because this, like, no, I mean, it was very, very entertaining, very good series for both teams. I mean, just really good baseball. And like you said here, and that's one thing I want to highlight also. Yeah, like, we are, and that is the talk, like, oh, baseball is broken because of the Dodgers. But it's weird. It kind of is. I understand that. I get that. I'm not dismissing this, but it's kind of weird how we're having a conversation about, is baseball broken, when we are also talking about, is this maybe the most entertaining series in postseason history? You talk about that double play. Another thing, this shout out to Just Baseball for this. Mookie Betts' double play at the end of the World Series had a 46.24% championship win probability added. That makes it the single most impactful play that resulted in an out in MLB history. That 46.24 championship, right, win probability added, was the most. The second most was a 32.81 in 1924. Third highest, 28.75% in Game 7 in 1991. So, like, that was like the most impactful play ending in and out in the World Series, more or less. And like, and that play also, just, I mean, hearing Mookie talking about it, it's like, I was just nervous as hell. This is also a guy who's played right field, comes in, and is like, hey, you're just gonna be our shortstop. That was a solid play. Just such a good series. And now we're talking, is baseball broken?
Yeah. I think it's just one of those things. John mentions it in the comments here. Like, this is a discussion that has a lot of nuance to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are many problems with the sport. The Dodgers specifically may not be the problem. And I don't blame, and like I said, I think that's what I kind of want to make clear here, because I feel like the last time we had a show like this, we had a lot of Dodgers fans come on and like defend themselves. And I want to be very clear that I don't think the Dodgers specifically are doing anything wrong here.
They're
Like,
not doing anything wrong. No.
kudos to the Dodgers. Props to the Dodgers. I wish more teams operated like the Dodgers, but I think we also need to accept the fact that a lot of teams can't. They simply can't operate like the Dodgers. Now, there are teams that can and don't. And I really specifically mean like the Yankees, right?
For sure.
The Yankees, for example, could operate like the Dodgers, and they choose not to. The Yankees are swimming in cash. They do not spend the percentage of their revenues on payroll like the Dodgers do. And you're seeing the fruits of that come to life with the Dodgers. They've won 3 out of the last 6 World Series titles. They've won 2 in a row. This lineup that they've put together, this pitching staff they've put together is going to put them in the World Series discussion for the next, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, essentially. They are doing everything that is allowed within the rules. They're going over the luxury tax threshold. They are paying into the luxury tax fund. There's nothing that they are doing that is against the rules or illegal. And if I had a boatload of cash, I'd be doing the exact same thing.
Right.
So are the Dodgers ruining baseball? Yeah, they kind of are. But I would be too. And like, I don't blame them for it. So I think you just have to go back to, yeah, like they are a problem that is contributing to this. But the other problem is, hey, there are other teams who could be doing this too. There are other teams too who don't prioritize winning as much as other teams. That's a problem. There are multiple problems that contribute to this. And I think there, like, you also have to recognize, yeah, like there is a problem where some teams just can't spend anywhere near, the amount of money that the Dodgers and the Yankees can spend. And yeah, we're Pirates fans, so we're maybe a little biased on this. Like, we look at our team and we know that they could spend more. Like, this is like, the Pirates are also a problem with baseball. Bob Nutting is a problem with baseball, where, yeah, we could be spending more money. Absolutely. I guess the issue is, like, we could be spending like 120 to 130 million, I think, which is still like 200 million short of some other teams. So I think that's where the problem lies. The problem isn't necessarily the Dodgers. The problem isn't necessarily the Pirates. The problem is that there's a system in place that allows this sort of disparity to happen between teams. There shouldn't be teams like the Pirates. The Pirates shouldn't be allowed to operate the way that they do. The Dodgers should be allowed to operate the way that they do. Like, if they're going to go over a certain threshold, you can let them, but then there's penalties to it, right? Like, you gotta pay a tax, right? So, like, that's kind of where I'm getting at. Are the Dodgers ruining baseball? Yes and no. Is everything else also kind of contributing to this? Yes and no. It's a very nuanced discussion, and I know people are going to just pick out the things that they want to hear out of this little mini rant that I'm going on. But more than one thing can be true. I think you can acknowledge that the owners of frugal teams are a problem. But you also can acknowledge that, hey, like, baseball has a system in place that allows this sort of stuff to happen when no other sport in America does. Like, you look at every other sport in America, and there isn't, like, this sort of disparity isn't tolerated. It's not allowed. So why do we allow it in baseball?
Right. So that's why I want to kind of go down here a little bit, maybe further than what you said, and kind of, I mean, you make all great points, and they're accurate, right? But I hate to label any team as the problem, because, like, no team is the problem. The Dodgers aren't the problem in baseball, because, like you said, they're doing everything within the rules. They're doing everything as they should. That's not a problem. Like, Where's the problem? This team wants to win. Where's the problem? What's the problem with the Dodgers doing? If I'm a Dodgers fan, you're telling me I have a problem? My team did everything they can to win. F off. Seriously, F off, because you're telling, like, where is the problem? My team wants to win. It's a sport. It's baseball. It's competitiveness. They were competitive and they did everything they could do to win. It's not a problem. Let's go out there and trying to win. Are the Pirates a problem? You can certainly say that, but they're doing everything within the rules also. It sucks. It sucks for you Pirates fans, but they're doing everything within the rules. That's not a problem. The problem is the system. Like, that's the problem, right? The problem is just simply the system. The Dodgers are doing everything they can, as rightfully so, and so are the Pirates, technically speaking. That's what the system provides them. So the problem comes down to the actual system. And I guess the problem is how you perceive it. Do you think that what's being done is a problem or not? And that's where I think it comes down to. And I'm sure for most Yankees and Dodgers fans, they're going to tell you there is no problem. And for most Pirates and A's and Marlins fans, they say there is a problem. And that really comes down to the ownership. So it's like those owners are cheap. So those fans are going to be impacted negatively because they're not going to be able to see the success that Dodgers fans can typically, see in Yankees fans. Even though Yankees, like, they haven't won a World Series in how long? And like you mentioned, like, they are, like, for a big market, they are also cheap. And that's something I've been pointing out for many years also, but I just want to put this in perspective also, like you said, and in the comments here said, like, if you trust OG's accounting, they can spend about, 115 million at break even. You know what? Let's just go on an extreme limb and just say, say, fine. Well, listen to you, Dodgers fans. Let's splurge. Pirates go in all in and they spend $200 million because, hey, he's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. Go spend money. So they go and spend $200 million. Are we close to the Dodgers payroll? Fine. You know what? Let's do something that everyone knows they probably can't do. Fine. Spend $300 million. This guy's a billionaire. Spend 1/5 of his net worth. Not cash on hand, but just spend 1/5 of his net worth. He's no longer a billionaire at this point. But go ahead. Spend $300 million. Do we not think the Dodgers, if they want to, can say, oh, okay, well, then I'm going to spend $500 million. I'm going to spend $600 million. If Bob Nutting and the Pirates can spend, once again, I talk about purchasing power. Like, if they can spend $300 million, can the Dodgers not spend more? It just is what it is. And yes, I understand Bob Nutting's cheap, and we want to spend more money. And there's a lot of cheap owners. Yankees also being one too. Like, they're cheap; they can spend more, right? But like, ultimately, there is a true thing: small market and large market exists. People have more money. Jim, if you have $50 and I only have $30, you can outspend me. If I want the player that costs $30, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be cheap. I'm not going to offer him 15 and then not get him. I'll say, here's $30. And you come over and you say, all right, well, then here's 35. I'm now officially out of money. You have outspent me. I can't physically spend $35. Now, you might call me cheap because I've always been spending 15 and 20, but I'm going to finally go out and spend $30 this time. Well, you have $50. So you get them for 35. Done. I'm still lost. I'm still out. You know what I mean? Like, it will always exist. The Dodgers are factually richer than the Pirates and the A's and the Marlins and Tampa and every team that's out there. So, like, the system is a problem. And if you truly want fairness in the sense of that's everyone's on the same level field financially, now it just comes down to how well you are. It's like your mind, your front office. Well, the Dodgers are still going to clear, because that's the one thing about the Dodgers. They're small market minded with billions and billions of dollars. They have a great analytical team. They develop, they do all the stuff a small market team needs to do, but then just throws money on it on top of it. The Dodgers are still clear, but at least that's now everyone's on a level playing field financially. No one has to worry, do I have enough money to go after Shohei Ohtani? Or, hey, is it possible that I can even retain Paul Skeens?
Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of have covered it. The one thing I do want to just make sure, and I mentioned it in one of our episodes last week, is like for the people who say like, Bob Nutting won't spend any money. I just want to address this because like by no means am I defending Bob Nutting. I think he's a terrible owner. I think the reason that the Pirates are in this position is because they have awful leadership and he doesn't prioritize winning. And kind of like OG said here, like Bob's main problem isn't necessarily the cash. Like we've seen teams win with low payrolls. The problem is that he seems completely fine with losing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's not obsessed with winning, which is what you should be as an owner of a sports team. So I want to get that out of the way. But Bob Nutting can't simply just say, oh, you know what? I'm going to spend $200 million this year. He's not the sole owner of the Pirates. Like he's the majority owner, but there are many other people involved in as minority owners of the Pirates. Bob Nutting can't just say, oh, here we go. Here's $80 million of my own money to spend. Go get it. Because what that then does is it essentially increases Bob Nutting's shares and ownership in the team. It decreases everyone else's shares in the team, which they're not going to go for. Like that's just not something that happens when you're part of like an ownership group. Now, if you were a Steve Cohen type guy and like you own the Mets, then you can do whatever you want. You can make it your own personal fantasy team, right? And that's what he's doing, as he should. Yeah. Like that's what you should do if you're in that situation. But I want to just be clear that Bob Nutting can't just spend $100 million of his own money. It's literally not a thing that can happen. Bob Nutting didn't even buy the Pirates. The reason why Bob Nutting owns the Pirates is because the Pirates needed cash 20 some years ago, and he loaned the team some money, and he was like, you know what, instead of paying me back, just give me shares. And he eventually accumulated enough of these shares that he became the majority owner. Kevin McClatchy never sold the Pirates to Bob Nutting. He never purchased the Pirates. He just accumulated enough shares over time to become owner. So that's simply not a thing that can happen. The only way the Pirates can spend money is by spending the money that they bring in as a team. Now, the Pirates are a business. The Pirates could go out there and get a business loan and say, hey, you know what? We're going to go for it right now. Here's all of our financial statements over the last 30 years. We make money. We can pay this loan back over a certain period of time, but we need an influx of cash right now. That's something the Pirates could do. And you see other teams do something like this, right? So when I say like they don't prioritize winning, like Bob Nutting is a very risk-averse individual who doesn't do stuff like that. Now, that's a problem because when you have the best pitcher in baseball, hey, maybe it is time to like, what's the point of owning the team if you're not going to go and get risky right now? So I guess when it comes down to it, it's like, I just want to make sure people know that Bob Nutting can't just spend $100 million of his own money.
Right.
He can't do it if he even wanted to. He can't do it. The team can take out a loan and they can take on debt to increase like cash on hand right now. But eventually they're going to have to pay that cash back. You look at teams like the Padres, like they're in debt. You look at teams like the Twins, they're in debt. So like there are teams that do this. It's just, if you're going to do it, now's the time to do it if you are the Pirates, right? So that's, I think, the big thing I want people to take from this is like, I know there's this narrative out there where like Bob Nutting's cheap. And guess what? He is. Like, I'm not saying he's not. Like, we've all read the stories, right? Like the renovation of the weight room in Bradenton gets taken from the player operations budget. Like that's being cheap, right? That's like you're making your real estate investments higher value, yet you're going to take it out of your baseball operations budget. Like, yeah, that is being cheap.
Also, pause you right there. The Cubs, the Ricketts. We talked about that how often ago. Again, this isn't just a small market mentality. This is the Yankees, the Cubs. Continue.
Yeah. So that's it. It's just the Pirates are a problem because they do not prioritize winning as much as they should. Teams like the Rays are a little different. We're not having this conversation about the Rays. The Rays aren't a problem in baseball because the Rays seemingly look like they prioritize winning quite a bit more than the Pittsburgh Pirates. They don't tolerate failure like the Pittsburgh Pirates do. So I guess that's my mini rant there on like Bob Nutting could just fix all this if he wasn't so cheap. That's not really how it works. It's not how it works.
Right.
Now, I'm not absolving Bob Nutting of anything. So like I said, be clear. I'm not absolving him because he's a god-awful owner of a baseball team. He's terrible. But the main reason why he's terrible is that he doesn't prioritize winning. He doesn't hold people accountable to do their jobs. He doesn't expect greatness out of anybody that he works with the Pirates. That's why Bob Nutting sucks as an owner.
Correct.
Not because he won't spend $100 million of his own money. He literally can't do that.
Yep. And again, that's something I said to some level, but right. That's why I talk about like the Dodgers were still clear because they're ran like a small market team. The Pirates aren't ran like a small market team. That's why they're not good. When I talk about that, it's all those issues you're mentioning here. It's not just because of money. It's because they're not smart. They don't do things right. Like the Guardians, the Rays, like those are we're the Brewers. Like, yeah, we are small market. We recognize that, but we can still persevere and win because we prioritize winning. We do things well, right? That's what the Dodgers also do well in too. Like the Dodgers don't win just because they throw $300 million out there every year. The Dodgers win because they do everything well. Everything that the Brewers do, the Dodgers do. And then they have $300 million on top of it. It's like, that's what I get at. Like, still, like, I don't feel like if there was a salary cap and everything was all fair financially, I'm not sitting here saying the Dodgers are not going to go back to back in the World Series. Like, they still probably will because they're ran that way. They still have a very good chance of being just as competitive because they're ran that way. The difference is a team like the Brewers, a team like the Guardians, a team like the Rays. I'm not here also saying that, now the Pirates have a chance. They're not ran well. But those teams now have a really good chance of being perennial playoff teams and winners and such. Again, like the Green Bay Packers, right? The Green Bay Packers are not competing in Major League Baseball. Not to the level that they have for their entire career or existence, more or less. The Steelers are probably closer to the Pirates. Steelers are one of the best franchises in NFL, right? So like that's what we're alluding to. It's not here to say like, the only reason the Pirates aren't here is because the Dodgers broke baseball. The Dodgers weren't allowed to spend $300 million. The Pirates would be in the playoffs. No, the Pirates still won't. They just won't. But hey, Cleveland fans, sorry, Tyler, but maybe they're happier, right? Tampa Bay, maybe they're happier. That's what we're going down to. The Brewers, it's a successful organization, but they're probably the Green Bay Packers in that sense. So it just makes everything else fair. Now it comes down to how well do you run your team? And that's where the Pirates would essentially be the Browns.
Yep. And like OG2 also points out here, like the reason why we're having this conversation is because the Dodgers they have established a dynasty at this point. Mm-hmm. Like 3 World Series in 6 years back to back. Like, and you look at what they have, like they are a dynasty. Dynasties aren't just exclusive to baseball though. Like there are dynasties in every sport because although there is parity when it comes to the payroll, if you do a good job with what you're given by identifying talent and locking it up, like that's how you create a dynasty. The Patriots created a dynasty because they drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round when no one else would. And turns out he was the best quarterback of all time. And then they were able to keep him and pay him as long as they wanted to. As long as their heart desired, they could keep Tom Brady and boom, there's your dynasty. The Penguins were lucky enough to win a lottery and draft Sidney Crosby right after they drafted Marc-Andre Fleury and Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang. Like, they made 4 straight really, really good draft picks, and they were able to keep them for a really long time, and they won a bunch of Stanley Cups, right? So like, dynasties exist everywhere, but the dynasties exist because you made good decisions,
Right.
not necessarily because you just spent more money than everybody else.
Right.
Now the Dodgers make good decisions and they spend more money than everybody else, so that's why we're kind of in that situation here. But yeah, like this isn't to say like dynasties are going to happen. They are. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
that's how sports work. Like, if you have the best players in the game and you were able to keep them, like, you're going to be the best team in the sport for a while. The issue is right now with the way things are set up. The Rays will never have a dynasty. The Brewers will never have a dynasty. The Guardians will never have a dynasty. The Pirates will never have a dynasty. They may be good every once in a while because they can get a bunch of pre-arb guys together who play well. They make shrewd moves here and there, and they put out 90+ win seasons. Like, that's entirely possible under the current state if you make good decisions. But you can only do that for so many years before your guys start getting too expensive and you can't pay them anymore.
Right.
So that's where, like, in baseball, the dynasties are going to be exclusive to the big market teams. Whereas every other sport, any team could have a dynasty. Anybody.
Agree. And it's just one of the things, it's like, I think it's just being exposed more of recent, and that's why the talks are heating up more of recent than they ever have, because you're just seeing, I just feel the gap is just widening further and further. I mean, the Dodgers and the Pirates 20 years ago was probably a lot closer than they are today. And the Pirates are now, the Pirates, the Dodgers, like, the way they've just changed, that new ownership came in. The way they've just changed the mindset and everything in there. I mean, they're smart. Like, that's the best front office in baseball. It's odd. Like, you don't really, strangely enough, you don't really talk about front offices in that way for a lot of large markets. Like, no one's really been going out there saying, oh, the Yankees are so smart, so smart. It's always like, hey, look at the Rays. Hey, look at the Guardians. Hey, look at the Pirates there for a little bit of time. Like, again, like, because their intelligence is what led the small market to become competitive or whatever. Most of the large markets always like, oh, there's cash. That's not the way the Dodgers are. I mean, for a decade now, it's really just been like, this is a very intelligent front office. Baseball ops, everything top down, just everything's super intelligent, and then they have all the money to spend. And also, what led to that money? That type of stuff, right? They created winning, they started winning, they continue winning, they do all the things that bring money in, and they've created money, right? So, like, that's also a reason why they have even much more cash on hand right now than they did before, is because they've created this winning environment. They invested into their product. Yes, they had more money to invest in to the product with, but they invested. And they're seeing the fruits of that now. So again, I can't blame them for that. But again, that's why I think you're just seeing it exposed even more today than you ever have. Do you ever see like a situation where it's like the Dodgers just fall off? I really don't. They develop well. They can choose to trade off or not. I mean, they have like 6 guys in the top 100 right now on pipeline. I feel this isn't like the Yankees where they just trade off everybody. I know there's not really top heavy in the sense of it's really, really solid. But like, they do that. They do that. They do that. Like, Will, the hero, the guy that had the most innings catching, you mentioned, that was a Dodger. Through and through. Drafted, developed. They do that. They just also have the opportunity to say, oh, large market Boston, you say you can't afford Mookie Betts? We'll take him off your hands. So again, I just think it's exposed even further now. And when it comes to deferrals, that's, I think, where a lot of people just lost their wits. Now it's like, well, now it's not fair. That's just something that, like, a team can't simply do as well. Like, the Dodgers have all the cash on hand. They are, you say the Yankees are swimming in it. They have the largest, they have Rick Ross's pool of cash, and they're swimming in. They can do all the deferral. Like, the Pirates wouldn't be able to give Ohtani that contract and those deferrals. They just simply couldn't prove, hey, we have this cash on hand to do it. They couldn't do it. The Dodgers can, and they make money off that cash. So therefore, that contract is pretty much paid for when they have to go out and pay for it as well. That's the rich getting richer sense. So it's just like, yeah, there is a difference. There is a financial difference between teams.
Yeah, and just to just to clarify the deferrals piece, like you can defer money, but you can't just defer anything you want. Like you still have to be able to produce the money that you're deferring. So the Dodgers have to show and prove that, hey, this money that we're deferring, like we actually have it. So when you say like, hey, why don't the Pirates do contracts like this where they just defer money for the next 40 years because they're going to be around for 40 years? They actually can't do it. Like it's written into the CBA. Like the Pirates, in order for the Pirates to do this, they would have to show, hey, we're deferring $300 million of this, but just to prove it, hey, here's we have that $300 million right here. And so that's again where it just gets a little. Every team can defer some cash. Most teams can't defer what the Dodgers are doing. Now, some teams can get close, right? And they're choosing not to. So that's where you can say it's, where it's done. But yeah, like that's the issue. That like the Pirates can't produce $500 million.
Right. Like as even says, it's not just shown, it's paid. Like it goes in an escrow.
Yeah.
Like you have to like again, like
you've got to have
the Pirates could not just say, here's the $700 million we're paying Shohei. They don't have it on hand.
Right. So it's it's just not something that they can do. So like I said, there's a lot of the discourse here is just kind of thrown back on, well, why don't the Pirates try more? And I think we can all agree that needs to happen. I think we can all agree. But there are certain things that teams like the Dodgers can do that teams like the Pirates just simply can't.
Yep.
And it's not like that in any other sport. No other sport operates that way.
It's not. So, again, to kind of wrap up my thoughts on this, technically speaking, the Dodgers aren't a problem. The Pirates aren't a problem. The problem is the system. And if you feel that is a problem, also the Pirates are more of a problem than the Dodgers. Like the Dodgers are not a problem in my eyes at all. Not at all. The Pirates should the Dodgers should not be pumping brakes. The Dodgers shouldn't say, you know what? This isn't fair to Bob Nutting. We'll only take one free agent this offseason. You know what? I feel bad. I feel sorry. If I hear that from my team, I'm punching you in the face. What are you talking about? So again, the Dodgers are not a problem. They're doing everything that every team should be doing. The Pirates are more of a problem than the Dodgers. 100%. 100%. But if you feel there is a problem in baseball, the problem is the system. If you feel there is no problem in baseball, then there's nothing that we can say. If you feel there is no problem right now, then it is what it is, because you're fine with the system. And I can see that debate. Baseball is different. Why did I like the DH in one league and not? Because it's different. Every field is different. But if you go in every other sport, every field's the same. The nuance in baseball is why people somewhat appreciate baseball other than other sports. This makes baseball different as well. If you are okay and like the system, then there's no problem anywhere. If you do have a problem, it's with the system.
Yeah. I don't think I agree with you too. Like there's if I were the fan of a large market team, I wouldn't have any issues right now.
Right.
I don't have any issue. I would have zero issues with saying, hey, there's there's a marquee free agent right now, and there's only 4 other teams that can even really compete with us. Yeah, I'm good with that.
And that's what's going to
I'm
make
good
the
with
whole
that.
thought of
Yeah.
does the salary cap come in? Like if you're the Dodgers or you're the Yankees, like are you agreeing like, oh yeah, you know what? I should give Bob more money.
Yeah, and that's what a salary cap would do.
Right.
A salary cap would bring on full on revenue sharing. Everybody's on an even playing field. You've got to spend a certain amount of your money. You can't spend over a certain amount, or there are penalties. So yeah, like that's how it works, and that's how every other league works. So I say it's going to be interesting how this next CBA goes, because I do feel like there's like we talk about this every time there's a CBA that comes around, but I do feel like there's a little bit more chatter this time around than last time. I don't think there's going to be any sort of changes this next CBA. I do think the next one, I guess, which would be 2032 or something, that one I could see like something really changing, especially what happens if the Dodgers go out here and they win like 4 out of the next 5 World Series. Then I think everybody's going to be fed up of it, not just small market teams.
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to. And I agree with you. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of, there'll be some changes, of course. I mean, I think the players are, the union's trying to find ways to, like they did this last time, like incentivize spending, to eliminate the cap, but to try to incentivize people like Bob Nutting to spend more money, which I mean, also like technically speaking, like Paul Skeens screwed them over because of that. Because of what the union did, like Paul Skeens is not here for an extra year like he normally would be. So like it kind of works to some level, but it's not still nowhere near, I think, where the players union wanted and such. But I think there's going to be some changes, but I don't think a cap's coming in right away either. I think it's going to be like we talked about, like you're saying right here. It's when the Yankees are starting to cry about the Dodgers. That's when because like once it's officially everybody versus the Dodgers, that's probably when you'll see it. But at this point in time, the Yankees, they're comfortable. They need to be very uncomfortable because the Yankees are comfortable because they're swimming in cash. And why are they swimming in cash? Because they win. When they're starting to, I mean, they haven't won a World Series in a long time either, again, but like when it's coming to over and over, much like last year, right? When they lost to the Dodgers, give them a couple more of those. Give them a couple more Yankees versus Dodgers, and they lose to the Dodgers every single time. They'll start crying.
It's always a good discussion. It's always something that, fans, no matter where you are, like you've got an opinion on it. And mine has changed over the years. I mean, I used to be very staunchly anti-cap. But that was also before we saw teams, like I said, again, they're not ruining the sport because they're operating within the rules, but their teams used to not do what the Dodgers are doing right now. Like they didn't do it to this level. And now you're seeing them doing it. And again, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. It's just it has now stirred this conversation up.
Yeah. Ethan says it's not right to trade Wally Serbiak for a future second round pick to clear space or have a cut a player for cap space. And like I get, like you mentioned the Tom Brady thing. Tom Brady, to create those dynasties, had to kind of take pay cuts for it to happen. Like in baseball, he would say, "Hey, I'm worth the 60 million. Pay me the 60 million." He just be on the Dodgers making all that money. That's also the difference too. Like in salary caps for dynasties to work, typically it comes down to people doing better for the organization. And that's where the players union comes in and says, like, hey, we don't want that. Like Tom Brady should get what he's worth. And Tom Brady technically didn't. You can argue like, hey, Tom Brady made a lot of money though. And the thing is, it wasn't just the Tom Brady's making a lot of money. It was also the role players. Where in MLB, that gap is very wide. So like, the guys that don't make a ton of money can start making a little bit more money. Maybe the Juan Sotos don't make that much money. They're making just Tom Brady type money. Again, I see all that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I get it. And under a salary cap league, like maybe Shohei's not getting 700 million. Maybe it's $500 million, right? But
Which is
your
really
other
what he's
players,
making after deferrals. Like that's the thing.
yeah, that's
That's
true.
part of the
Yeah, I
problem.
mean, you
But
look
yeah.
at what inflation, I mean, just like a kind of inflation costs over the years. Like he's not getting that full amount of money. So
Mhm.
it's always an interesting debate. I said, leave your comment, what you think. Tell us, are we idiots? Or is the problem Bob Nutting? Is there nothing wrong with it? Are we just being grouchy and whining because the Dodgers are winning and because our team stinks? So yeah, let us know. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. And just to clarify, when we talk about the idiots part, not about the Dugan Darnell stuff. We know we're idiots for the lefty righty
Yeah.
thing. Specifically the Dodgers. We know we're idiots. Just tell us if we're idiots about this Dodgers talk or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. The Pirates had some minor league awards. We talked about it a little bit on NS9 Live, but some other awards were announced on Thursday after we after our show. So I just want to acknowledge that. Konnor Griffin, your Pittsburgh Pirates minor league player of the year. Big shock there.
Another one.
The guy who rose to become the number one prospect in all of baseball, clearly winning the player of the year in the Pirates system. Bubba Chandler was named the pitcher of the year, which is a little bit, I was thinking maybe Hunter Barco there, but Bubba wins it. I mean, he had an outstanding season in AAA and, got promoted and pitched really well in the majors too. So really excited about what both of those guys can bring to this team potentially in 2026. I think Bubba will be on the opening day roster. I think Griffin's going to make us have really interesting discussions all next spring as far as what you do with them. So yeah, two really, really good prospects the Pirates have right there. I mean, both of them top 10 guys. I think Bubba Chandler was number 2 at one point at his highest. And then I said Griffin's number 1 right now. So nice having those guys kind of right there, either on the team or right on the doorstep.
Yeah. I am with you. Mr. Barco, you got robbed. I'm sorry. But Hunter Barco got robbed. Is Bubba Chandler the better prospect? Absolutely. That's why he's in Pittsburgh already. He's pitching well in Pittsburgh, but let's be honest, Hunter Barco got robbed. If you're actually talking about who was the best pitcher in the minor leagues this year and such, I mean, Bubba Chandler had a 4.05 ERA. There's a reason why Bubba Chandler did not get promoted until he did. That was the big debate, and rightfully so, right? Because he was underperforming. So I don't know how you really give Bubba Chandler the minor league pitcher of the year when he was underperforming, and you waited probably 2 more months to call him up when you thought you were going to because he wasn't performing. A 4.05 ERA in AAA, where Hunter Barco had a 2.81 ERA, and basically just the same amount of innings, 100 innings compared to 99.1. So Hunter Barco was robbed. So congratulations, Hunter Barco. Here's your award that I'm giving you that doesn't exist. You win the NS9 minor league pitcher of the year. How about that?
There we go. The NS9 Young Bucks Award.
Much more prestigious, obviously.
On top of that, Gold Glove Awards were last night. They were on ESPN. Pirates had a couple nominees. Tommy Pham was a left field nominee. He did not win.
Also not actually left-handed.
Not left-handed. Jared Triolo was the utility infield, was a nominee for utility infielder, which is the award that he won last season. Now, I think Jared Triolo got robbed here because he did not win. But yeah, 2 nominees, no winners. However, at the end of the show, they also did the minor league Gold Glove Awards, and Konnor Griffin won the minor league Gold Glove Award for shortstop. So the accolades just kind of keep coming and coming and coming for Konnor Griffin.
They sure do. Another one. Konnor Griffin, just outstanding season. So congratulations to Konnor Griffin on your outstanding season, you being the number 1 prospect, and see you on opening day.
Yeah. And like Zach says too, Brian Hayes won at third base, but he's dead to us now.
He's dead to us. He did.
I do want to say though, had the opportunity to talk to Konnor Griffin on Thursday and asked him what he thought his biggest weakness was, essentially, and he did mention that getting better with his footwork specifically at shortstop. So he won a minor league Gold Glove, but he said one of the things he's going to be working on this offseason is kind of making that part of his game a little bit better.
Yeah. He basically said there's nothing wrong with my game.
Yeah, he did basically say he's like, I can't really answer that question, but then he did add a few things. So
it's funny because that's how I interpret it. It's like, oh man, I mean, I do have to, obviously, if you want to be great, you have to work on everything. If I want to be in the Hall of Fame, I got to work on. There's something I still got to improve. I don't know what it is because I'm very good at everything.
He's impressive.
So,
he's impressive.
Footwork.
He did mention that like he doesn't think he's as good as he can be, obviously, and that until he's a Hall of Famer, he's going to be trying to get better. So,
yep. I love that quote, by the way. Also,
I
love that quote. All right. So we out of here.
What's your prediction for the first big offseason move the Pirates make?
Listen,
we're officially in the offseason. They can sign free agents right now. What's their first non-waiver wire pickup? And you don't have to give a name if you don't want to, but like what position maybe are they addressing first?
If there's one thing I know about the Pirates, it's that they're always going to do what I don't want them to do. And even if I try to think in the Pirates, okay, so let me put my Bob Nutting, Ben Cherington hat on. What would they do? It's still not that. So whatever I say is going to be wrong. So I plead the fifth. But it's what Zachary says here. Like it's bullpen. I don't know how to answer this. They technically have money to spend. That's why we said Cabron Hayes is dead to us, right? They cleared payroll. So even to get back to about the 90 million range, they got about 25 million to spend. You trade Mitch Keller, that makes it even more. So like theoretically, they could go out there and get a free agent. I don't trust that they will. We know they're going to get bullpen arms. They have to get a third baseman.
Yeah.
And a corner outfield.
GM meetings are next week. They start next Monday and they go through next Thursday, the 10th through the 13th. So you see a lot of groundwork for stuff getting done, especially if there's going to be any sort of trades. Like the groundwork for those trades occurs next week, right? And then usually the way it works is, everything normally gets finalized at winter meetings, which will be the following month. So, I don't know how much happens this GM meetings. I don't think any trades happen right off the bat, but I'm going to say, if I'm answering my own question, I think the Pirates acquire a corner outfielder. That's going to be the first thing that they do is they're going to figure out a way to acquire a corner outfielder via trade.
Okay. I think trades are most likely. But kind of like OG Minlow says here, right? Nothing happens till the winter meetings. And then, of course, nothing happens during the winter meetings. And that's kind of like the problem. I think we're also seeing like in new age baseball, the winter meetings were always popping. And now I just feel like
Pirates acquired their best player last season. Best hitter during winter meetings. So
the best acquisition in Ben Cherington's tenure.
Honestly, yeah.
But teams like we'll wait it out. We'll wait it out. We'll make these prices drop. We'll wait it out. And like you see more and more of that. And I think it's sped up a little bit. Last year was a bit better. And of course, Juan Soto didn't happen at the winter meetings though either. But it was close. But yeah, I feel like you're right though. Like the framework happens in the GM meetings, and I think what happens in the winter meetings is more framework these days until things happen to what the teams want, not so much the players. But yeah, I don't know. And again, like also part of the problem is there's just so many holes that this team has. Like, just throw a dart. If this team just needed a third baseman, I'll be like, oh, third base. But this team needs so much. So like, what's the first? I don't know. Whatever comes at $4 million or less. And that's typically bullpen. So there you go.
Yep. All right. I think it's going to be corner outfield.
Could. The re-signing Tommy Pham.
Run it back, baby.
Run it back. All right. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Appreciate all you guys on a Monday morning. First show of the offseason. Like the video, subscribe to the page, all that good stuff. Yeah, good chat, good conversation. Again, if you're watching or listening after the fact, tell a friend, leave a comment. Tell us how dumb or smart we are about the Dodgers.
Correct. Just about the Dodgers. We will be back on Wednesday for NS9 Live. So tune in. We'll be talking about that corner outfielder the Pirates acquired. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
It's still the early part of the offseason. All right, so we're out of here. We love you all. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.